We have a few questions here. I think there's one here that we should start with. It's from Christopher. He says, "Hi Dan, thanks for the great lecture so far. How can we be structured in our approach to experimenting with creativity?"
Ooh, that's a big one.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Experimenting with creativity. Well, you see, I'm biased because I did a lot of, I spent a lot of my time in working in pre-testing. And I'm a fan. I know pre-testing is very, what's the word? Love and hate. You know, some people love it, some people hate it. I was always a big fan. I'm still a big fan of pre-testing. If you treat it in the right way, if you treat it in this way, if you treat it as a way to explore things, experimental ideas for things you might even be nervous for. I mean, it's incredible how many of the famous ads from years ago actually would never have made it on air if it wasn't for some experimental pre-testing. You know, I mean, the one I worked, like I personally worked on was Pepperami. Again, too UK. It's too UK. The point is, the salami in a pack, right? It's a snack salami, yeah. And the character was the salami, and the salami used to get chopped up, and it was quite macabre. It was almost quite dark, dark humor, and it's like the company who owned it would never have gone for it if they hadn't had the research results that said that people found it absolutely hilarious, and loved it. There are loads of examples, but I think it's what I have to say. Research. It's not about structure. It's about process. It's about try wacky things because sometimes they will go off the scale.
Yeah.
And the gorilla ad was off the scale. It was incredible. It scored higher than any other ad on our engagement metric. And you wouldn't have known that. And there was a lot of resistance. I've got the letter, I've got the correspondence to prove it within Cadbury at the time, saying no, we can't go on air. Yes, we can because people absolutely love it. Yeah, great. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I'd address that one.
Yeah, sometimes there has to be like this element of surprise, right? To,
Yes,
to make it really stand out.
surprise is one of the most important elements of getting attention. Surprise things you haven't seen before. People, if it's familiar, like a car winding down a mountain trail, you've seen 100 times, you just switch off. Surprise is really important if you can tether surprise to your brand and your message.
Yeah, exactly. No, I saw a guy at a conference some time ago. He was doing some commercials for Booking.com, and they had they started out with a giraffe sitting at a computer booking a journey, right? And I just love the idea because you instantly, what is going on here? This is not how it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, people react to things that they've never seen because I think it's. I think of it as very primordial. Yeah, as in, if you've never seen something before, it could be a threat or an opportunity, and our brains are wired to look for the environment for anything that's not normal. If it's normal, who cares? It's boring. You see it. If it's different, it might be a threat or an opportunity. So therefore, yeah, I know it's cheesy to say a giraffe. What was it again?
It was Booking.com. It was booking.
Booking. Yeah, fine. You kind of go, what's this? And at least you get the attention. I mean, you have to hold it again. But I think that's really important. If you just do something that's been seen before or similar to the rest of the category, there's no point. You're not going to break through.
No, exactly. Okay, I have another question here before we go on to the next slide. I was just at an event where the Cannes Lion winners were celebrated for their incredible creativity. The top-ranked global campaigns often showed terrible performance when the data was added. So when we talk about creativity being the biggest variable for determining success, how do we apply the unified data model to develop creatives that are highly memorable and deliver high impact results?
Yeah, I mean, this has always been a big theme in advertising. You can come up with incredibly creative content that has no impact on the brand. I think the secret to like I said before, it's about tethering it or leveraging it, or and usually it's to do with how the brand is or isn't a part of what is creative, or the aspects that consumers respond powerfully to within the creative, and that's the big variable. So we said that creativity was the big variable, compared with media, it's the big variable. Within creativity, the way the brand is involved in the creative elements is the next big variable by far. The brand, it is quite easy. Yeah, you can create an amazing spectacle and put it on air. And like I said, that distribution we showed earlier, some of the most incredibly impactful adverts out there had no impact on the brand, like almost no impact on the brand. I won't quote names because it's a bit kind of rude to the people who produce the advertising, but that is absolutely possible. But I mean, there are tricks and ways you can try and do this. Obviously, good market research will help you determine whether or not the brand is or isn't truly part of that. And so again, that's why I think I'm a big fan of research still, but because of that. I think just one of the, I know it's old, it's an old tale, but it's still useful. It's like if you were to describe, if you kind of actually went to your grandparent, grandmother, grandfather, and wanted to describe the ad in just one sentence, really, really succinctly, would you, if you could do it without mentioning the brand, there's a problem. If you kind of feel naturally that the brand is part of how you describe in that sentence, then probably you're going to leverage that creativity. I mean, I know it's not perfect, but I still do that now when I'm consulting. I go, how would I describe this to my grandmother? She's not alive, but that's not relevant. But and I'd go, oh, I don't think I'd need to. However I described it, I wouldn't want to talk about the brand. It wouldn't be relevant. So I'm thinking there might be a problem. It's a silly thing, but research will tell you that more accurately.